I would encourage everybody to just pump the brakes on, U.S. soccer's fallen off and the players are so far behind the Europeans.
What was that experience like getting your jersey number retired, especially seeing all those people in attendance for you? I'm sure that felt really cool.
Like totally overwhelming. It's like, how do you really take it all in? I think having my friends and my family there, obviously having Sue there, I think helped a lot just to kind of like stay grounded, because it's an overwhelming thing. Obviously, I'm the first one at the club to have that honor. I'm one of very few in the NWSL. And just as an athlete, it's, one of the coolest and kind of highest honors that can sort of be bestowed upon you. So I just tried to take it all in. I just tried to, relive every memory that I could. I got to share a lot of special moments with Laura and Jess and Lou, and obviously my friends and family. And they pulled out an unbelievable win and got a great goal right at the end. So I just tried to, just enjoy it and take it all in. And I think in the words that I said on the field, just to thank the fans and to thank everybody who's really been there all along the way. I know that, they'll look up at my jersey or my number and see me, but when I look up there, I will be seeing them and all the memories that we've had and just the ways that I've grown over the years. So it was like insanely special. It was a really beautiful weekend. It came off all really well, and I'm really thankful for it.
So I know that Sue has her number retired as well by the Storm. So do you guys feel like you've kind of conquered the city of Seattle at this point?
Hopefully just adding to it. Sue also had a street named right outside of Climate Pledge Arena. Sue Bird Court will forever be immortalized in the streets of Seattle. So that was really special as well. I mean, we love Seattle so much. It's obviously the place that we met. It's a place where we both really spent pretty much our entire career there. And we love being a part of the city so much. I actually asked Sue for a lot of advice leading up to this weekend and just what, not just what to expect, but, things that she would have done differently or whatever. She gave me the assist on the speech leading into the game. So for us to be able to share that kind of respectively 1 year apart is really special for us as well.
I know that you two do a podcast together, so tell me a little bit about what that entails and what topics you guys delve into every single week.
Our podcast is really all about sports, culture, politics, and the way that it intersects in women's sports. Sometimes we touch on men's sports, but only when it's really relevant to women's sports. So it's really a place where we can talk about, sort of all the happenings, but also just use our experience over the years and the things that we know. Obviously, women's sports is blowing up in so many different ways. And I feel like the coverage from women, especially from former athletes, is lacking a little bit. And so you're going to miss the nuance, or you're going to miss the deeper dive, or you're going to miss, the thing that's really happening, as with, women in general, but certainly in women's sports. Politics is always going to be ever present. The intersection of economics and politics and culture, it's always going to be all in there. So we hope to have fun and bring our perspective. I mean, we have, not only our individual perspective, but being together for all of these years during a really exponential rise in women's sports, I think gives us a really unique perspective. And we want to have fun and just let loose a little bit and tell funny stories. And I think also giving female athletes a place that they can come and just be themselves. And we want to ask, harder questions and interesting questions, and we want to get into the nitty gritty, but also we want to just know the fun parts of their lives and get to know them as people and give them that space where they can really just authentically be themselves. And hopefully people learn a thing or two, or are entertained, or just enjoy themselves as they listen to us.
I know one of the rare occasions of you talking about men's sports on your podcast has included Colin Kaepernick and the flag football team. So despite him not being in the NFL, he's also getting up there in age, which gets every athlete eventually. But what do you think he needs to do to achieve a spot on this flag football team?
I mean, first of all, I think it would just be incredible. That would be really an incredible moment to have Colin Kaepernick represent America on the biggest sports stage, as he's been, continues to be blackballed by the NFL and one of the biggest sports in our country. So he, his sort of career was really robbed from him, and continues to be. So if he could get the opportunity to represent America in the Olympics and wearing the flag and everything, I think that would be incredible. I don't know exactly what the qualification process is for flag football. I know there's been a lot of kind of chatter on the flag football side and on the NFL side for who deserves to go and who's better and all of that. But I feel like, if he's given the opportunity, he's such a huge talent and would be incredible to see him represent America. That would definitely be a appointment viewing for me, and I'm sure many other people.
You mentioned the chatter between the NFL and flag footballers. So do you think that the transition between these two sports is harder than it looks?
I think there's definitely going to be a transition. I mean, I don't know flag football that well, so I can't, or football that well, so I can't speak to it so much. But I do understand, the guys who have put in all the work and who play flag football and who've grown the sport and who've, done all the kind of dirty work to get it to the Olympics and then to just be like, shoot away. I think they should do some tryouts and they should do like, you gotta earn it if you're some of these NFL guys. I mean, obviously they're, probably better on talent and obviously they're playing in the NFL and they're some of the stars, but I understand the want for respect and for recognition from a lot of these guys who have put a lot of time and effort and work into it and are like, on the cusp of a dream come true of having flag football in the Olympics. But I want to see some head to head. I think ideally it'd be like a mixed team, some NFL players and then some players who have been there for a long time. I feel like that'd be probably the most respectful move.
So let's pivot a little bit and talk about soccer with you. So the league just signed a new collective bargaining agreement, which included getting rid of the draft. So what are your thoughts, and do you think that it will help the U.S. compete more with Europe?
Well, we did just win the gold medal without it. So I wouldn't say I would encourage everybody to just pump the brakes on, U.S. soccer's fallen off and the players are so far behind the Europeans. I think it's just going to be better suited for the overall growth and development of the game. We've already seen a lot of really young players signing anyways or skipping college. It does mimic more of the, European sort of style of setting up contracts. I think having players have so much agency over, not just the team they play for, but like the coach that they want to play for and the team they want to play for and the city that they live in. Not being able to, literally just get a call one day and be like, you're traded, no matter what your setup and what your life is. I think that's great. And then obviously all the financial parts, the minimum salaries going up. I think you're going to, see teams have to compete a lot harder and really set up sporting projects and, from facilities to coaches to medical to everything to be competitive with each other and give the best opportunity for the players. But I think it's really great. I love the fact that the league and the players came together and, kind of just sat down the table and was like, what we're operating under right now is already obsolete. So how do we get the best out of each other? How do we both get some of what we want to ultimately push the sport forward? And I think it's great. I mean, I think anytime players have that much autonomy and agency and ability to be where they want to be and make their own choices, then that's a positive thing. And I think, the league is growing so much. We're seeing a lot more international interest in the league. And I think this CBA will facilitate that even more. I know it's difficult. I've played with a lot of European players and foreign players who just they just can't even understand the concept of being traded without wanting to be. So I feel like it's going to be a much more attractive place to attract the best talent in the world.
So you mentioned that gold medal in Paris, which brings us to talk about Coach Emma Hayes. What do you think she has in her that has really brought her and this team success right away?
I mean, I think at the very highest level, a lot comes down to confidence and form, and knowing who you are as a team and as just an individual player and as your manager. I think Emma has a ton of confidence in herself, and that shows. And she's okay with making a decision and having to go wrong and taking the responsibility for it. It feels like that. She's obviously had, a ton of success at Chelsea. in building that project and being so successful. And I think I see from her, like, she's confident, and that translates to the players. And that's what I saw from the players, even just like the videos of them walking off the bus, or the way that they've celebrated, or the way that they're expressing themselves on the field, both in play and just, sort of in life. I feel like they're all confident. They all feel like Emma trusts them. I think that's really big. And I think that they've kind of like found their groove. And I think it does stem a lot from Emma. I mean, I think the talent was there and the personality was there, and all of it was already there. It's not like, she brought in 20 new players. All these players have been there. But there is a different vibe. And I think the ability for them to just go out and play and know that the manager has their back, and know that they're all playing for the same goal, I think is great. And to be honest, I feel like, as one of those players that was kind of a holdover from the kind of past generation, definitely during the World Cup, I think it is important for them to have the team be theirs. It's difficult to like step into a larger role when you still have all these big personalities around. So I feel like the team is really like firmly theirs now, and they are in their own generation, and they're in their own sort of like history writing phase, and they're already doing that. So I think that it's so great to be able to see that, and to be able to see them step into this moment where there was a lot of questions leading into the tournament of just what the team was going to be and how Emma was going to be. And it's, even more so than doubt, I think just questions of like, she just came and she's only been here for a couple of weeks. So it was great to see. And I think now definitely sky's the limit. All those players are so young, and they have so much experience under their belt already. So yeah, it's going to be scary hours, I think, for a while.
How did it feel to be a spectator watching the team in the Olympics rather than playing on the field?
It's like simultaneously like more fun because, you don't have all the responsibility, or you don't have to do anything. And way more nerve wracking, obviously, because you have no control and you're just a spectator watching. But they're such a fun team to watch. I just always got the sense, especially as they built into the tournament, like I felt like they knew how they were going to win. They felt like they controlled games. They felt like they know who they were. They scored great goals. Somehow they just kept running and running and running. The front three just literally spectacular, and they're all still so young and, barely getting into their prime. So it was so much fun. There's obviously the pictures of us older players and Mia and, Cindy being the president now, just all celebrating together. That's just like the joy that we had for them. Is like kind of the same joy. Them having joy on the field is the same as us having joy off the field. And it was just a pleasure to watch them be great, really.
So we'd love to pivot and talk a little WNBA with you. With this league growing so much this year, how are you feeling seeing this sport, which is Sue's sport, grow so much this year?
I mean, Sue always says this, but it's like the WNBA was already here. Everyone's just catching up to it now. Well, obviously, it's been around for 26 or 7 years. I think it's just getting the due it deserves. It's always had the best players in the world. It's always had the storylines. It's always had the stars. It's always had, all of the drama that everybody loves. And basketball is such just an exciting sport to go and watch. You obviously get to sit closer, and it's a tighter arena, and there's music playing, and like the entertainment factor of all of that is so much. So to see it really be invested in the ways that it deserves, and the media coverage and the broadcasting and all of that starting to catch up with what has always been there, which is the incredible talent and show and like celebration on the court is amazing to see. It's late. It's too late, but it's here now. And I feel like the players are just running with it. And I think, the next 5 or 10 years, really the next 5 years in the W is going to, I think, be a pretty big sea change. We're obviously seeing expansion teams come in. The new CBA will be in 2026 or 8, I think. 2026, I think. So lots happening, lots changing. We're season ticket holders in New York, and obviously in Seattle, we don't really have to be season ticket holders. Who's Mrs. Storm. So yeah, it's been really fun and exciting. And I think, just, validating in so many ways to watch it be celebrated and grow the way that it is this year.
So last question for you. We just spoke with Arike Agumbawale, and we asked her about her sports fashion icons, and she said Sue Bird. So what do you think about that, and do you think that Sue is a major athlete fashion icon?
Oh, totally. I feel like Sue was like one of the first to start doing tunnel fits. Like even before they were really a thing in the W and in women's sports, like started, dressing for games and just like exploring her fashion a little bit more. And now obviously you see it's like going crazy. So she's like one of the little pioneers of that for sure. And yeah, Sue's style's amazing and she's beautiful and pull off pretty much anything. So that's cool to hear from Rike though, because Rike's definitely up there for both of us. We're always like sharing pictures back and forth, and Rike just has such like a cool, unique individual style, and like you can tell it's just like all her. So that's a big compliment coming from Rike.
Hey sports fans, if you want to see more conversations with athletes and stars, check out these videos right here and be sure to subscribe for more from USA Today Sports.